So what is a VIN search on a vehicle, and what are the different types of VIN number lookups? Now, in the course of this video, you're going to hear me refer to a phrase that says VIN number. And I understand that the N in the word VIN stands for number. So vehicle identification number is what VIN stands for. But most people say VIN number. And even though number is twice in that sentence, that's just how people talk about it. So be aware that that may happen. So a VIN search or a VIN history search is a records request for certain records of a vehicle identification number. And when people say I want to do a VIN search or a VIN check or a vehicle history check, it means different things. There are three very different types of VIN searches that you can do, and it's important to know the difference so you know what you're getting. Because otherwise you might think you're getting one thing, but you might be missing information, important information for that matter. So the three types of VIN searches are a consumer civilian level, an enterprise level, or a grade 3 government level VIN search. And they all have very different results. So let's talk about what they are. The consumer civilian level VIN search is what you're going to find online, like Carfax or VIN check or VIN searching, whatever it is. And you'll see a link below for an example of that. And that's going to search records that are available from a third-party private company. It's not coming from the government. It's not coming from any direct official source. It's coming from a private company like Carfax that extracts some of the government information and puts it into their own database and returns it to you. Now, in the terms and conditions and the disclaimers for those companies, it's going to tell you it may not be 100% accurate. It may be outdated. Sometimes these companies only download once or twice a year. So if something happened recently, it might not be in there. Also, certain states don't report to private companies, right? Vehicle records are recorded and maintained at the state level. Every state has their own Department of Motor Vehicles. If that state doesn't submit their information to the private company, it's not going to be there, right? And some states report limited information, not all information, but limited information. So the consumer level is a good place to start. If you're a consumer, to get information, it'll tell you probably what state it was last titled in. It'll probably tell you things like mileage, if there's a title brand like salvage or flood, but we'll talk about that later. It may not be 100% accurate. But what it won't show are things like if there's liens on the vehicle. It might say no liens found. However, it's not going to get liens from every state, and most of the time it won't have any liens. We see cars all the time that people ran a VIN check online and said no liens, but there's a lien on the vehicle, right? So consumer level has their place. They're cheap, 10, 15, 20 bucks. It's worth doing for how much it is. Definitely want to start with that. You definitely want to get one to see what's there, because it will show some things. At least you'll know the bad stuff. It'll also normally check for stolen. However, because it's not accessing the stolen car database immediately, directly, it may be outdated, meaning that if the car was reported stolen 2 days ago, it might not be there. If it was reported stolen a year ago, and then you will be back in your video in just a few seconds. In the meantime, remember that actualhuman.com offers you live one-on-one private video consultation with an expert in this exact subject. We want to listen to your story. We want to hear your questions. We want to give you expert advisement of your options and tell you what we know about your particular situation. Now back to your video. Recovered a week ago, it might not show recovered. So keep in mind that those limitations exist. What about the next level up, which is the enterprise level? Enterprise level is a type of VIN search that certain types of companies can do. Insurance companies, private investigators, certain background checking companies, certain automotive companies are allowed to do an enterprise level search. It accesses more information. One of the things you cannot see on a consumer level is the name of the last owner. It might show you the state they lived in, Georgia title, but it won't show you Georgia title, John Smith was the owner. They're not allowed to give that out. That's considered very private information. The enterprise level can see the name of the owner. They can see the address of the owner. They can even go back, prior owners, and see those sensitive information data points. They can also see things like insurance companies. They usually have access to more updated records on liens and the name of the lien holder. It might say lien holder Bank of America, lien holder Ally, lien holder Chrysler Credit, whatever it is. So the enterprise level, one step up, will have a lot more deep, rich information about that vehicle that those types of companies need. Insurance companies need to know that. Investigators need to know that. And we see those all the time in our investigations, in our insurance side. We see those enterprise level cases all the time. The next level up is what's called the level 3 government agency access. This is where your police department, this is where your Department of Motor Vehicles, all those offices have access to these records. And they get it in real time. They access the Department of Motor Vehicles, they access the NCIC, the National Crime Information Computer Information Center, and those are accurate 100%. So how can you get that? Well, you really can't unless if you go in person with your photo ID and the VIN number to the police department closest to you. They can check the stolen part of it. They can't check liens and everything else. They might say they can, but they can't see it on the police side. And then you go from there to the Department of Motor Vehicles with your photo ID, with the VIN number, and ask them, you might have to sign a form to do an enterprise level search to see, are there liens on it? Is it a salvage? Is it a parts only? And you'll get good information that way. Definitely always start with the online version to see what's there. The consumer level version, for how cheap it is, it'll save you having to drive all around town, and you might get the information you need. But at some point, if you're making a very major decision based on a vehicle history, get it right from the horse's mouth. Get it from the police department, get it from the DMV, and also check out the National Motor Vehicle Title Information System, NMVTIS. It's a federal record system which keeps track of all the different states. Now, some of the consumer level ones will have some access to it, but it may be limited. But those are the 3 levels of VIN searching. They're not all created the same. If you do some online, oh, I saw a VIN search, I paid $10, it's great information, but you may want to get more if you're going to make a major decision about a vehicle. Thank you for watching another video at actualhuman.com and describe.tv. Remember, if you have questions or comments about our videos, put them in the link below. Also, remember that you have availability and access to live one-on-one question and answer consultation with a licensed expert in a number of fields: investigations, insurance, surety bonds, civil court mediation, even things like real estate records research, real estate brokers, real estate mortgage lenders. In addition, you're going to find that experts are available in business segments, business development, marketing, advertising, certified licensed experts. So if you do find this content valuable and you want to delve more deeply into a subject, you can't ask YouTube a question, right? But if you want to talk to somebody live, an actual human, use the link below. Thanks for watching.